Ah, the Skaven. I'm a firm believer, and you can call me a fanboy all you want, that if you put the Skaven anywhere in any fantasy setting, they will just absolutely dominate wherever they are. Um, you put them put them in Middle Earth, they're just going to spread like wildfire and probably kill everything. You put them in somewhere else, anywhere. The only thing that can stop the Skaven are the Skaven. Or I should say the Skaven's ego. That's what I really feel like should be the case. So here we are of where somewhere the Skaven would just butt-fuck the entire world with no lube. Westeros. Yeah, Westeros, I know everyone says that Westeros is a great, beautiful land, and it has deep lore, and, amazing battles, and it's a great fantasy series, and the TV show is great, and just don't look at those last 3 seasons, especially season 8, and we're all good. Yeah, in terms of, power of the worlds, I would say Westeros ranks pretty low, of all things considered. So, what would it be like if the Skaven existed in Westeros, and how fucked would they be? Let's talk about that. Now, the Skaven just outnumber everyone. That's not even me being a fan. That's me literally pointing out fact that the Skaven, even in the old world and in Sigmar, they just outnumber everyone. For every every other creature, whether it be human, elf, dwarf, chaos, whatever, the Skaven are literally outnumber them 20-1 on a daily basis. So, what do you think it's going to be like when you throw them in Westeros? Now, again, the Skaven can get in their own way. That's kind of their downfall, is that the Skaven are going to Skaven. That's really all that's going to happen, is that the Skaven are going to Skaven. And, yeah, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get very ugly. But when I say it's going to get ugly for Westeros. Because Westeros is so tied up in its own goddamn bullshit, like high school drama, but with swords and sorcery. Not even with sorcery, just swords and a lot of incest. That the Skaven are going to be just out there killing everything. Westeros couldn't even get united behind fighting the White Walkers. How do you think they're going to deal against 5 to 6 foot tall rat men who are coked out on warpstone? It's not going to go well. Now, one of the things is that I think if the Skaven did exist in Westeros, the big thing is that they're not going to announce themselves. They're going to, for the most part, at least at the start, they're just going to be hiding in the shadows and maybe doing raids on villages, maybe even being a myth. That's how the Skaven kind of existed in the old world for a long time, was that the Skaven basically were treated like a bad nightmare, like a bedtime story, like a cautionary tale. For a good chunk of the old world, and even up until Skaventide, the world of Warhammer Fantasy kind of just thought the Skaven weren't real. So the Skaven are going to be hiding in plain sight. They're just going to be hiding underground, maybe doing raids on small villages, doing strikes here and there, and also eating each other, because they'll do that. But they'll also be kidnapping people and turning them into horrible abominations. Isn't that fun? Now, when they start ramping up, when the Skaven will start ramping up, it's hard to tell of where they would strike first. It's really hard to think of where would their first target be, because it really depends on geolocation. And you may be thinking, well, they're not going to be able to cross the sea and do battle with the Dothraki, right? You give a Skaven a good enough time, they'll figure it out. And here's the thing: they're not going to care about the cost of their own lives. They would even, if they could, they would build a bridge made of their own kind to step over it to get to the other land. Hell, they could even use one of those vermin holes to they're completely unsafe, but damn well do it. They'll even try to dig underwater. They'll try to dig their heart yeah. And they'll build ships. They're not good at it, but they're going to build ships. I mean, they literally built a spaceship that blew up and literally made everyone think that it was some kind of bad omen. Yeah. So where would they really like be the biggest threat? Honestly, anywhere. Like anywhere you put them, they're going to terrorize your that kingdom of Westeros. That kingdom. The Baratheons would probably be. Stannis would probably be too wrapped up in his own god, in his own god stuff, and the Red Woman into doing anything of note. He probably actually would be the House Baratheon would treat the Skaven like a holy war, saying that the gods deem them unholy and shit like that. The Stark, House Stark and everyone else in the North would more than likely. The problem is I would say they'd be easier to unite under the King of the North, but I've kind of seen how how unity in the Game of Thrones world doesn't really work. The Lannisters, while they probably have one of the strongest armies out there, they're still run by a bunch of bullshit. And Skaven don't fight you like typical armies. Their whole thing is deceit and lies, and they will fight you up front, but the thing is, you don't want them to fight you up front, because then you'll just be drowning in a sea of rat men. They also really like to come up from under the ground. That's the other thing they'll probably do. If they're attacking King's Landing, the Skaven are probably going to be diverting Tywin Lannister and the army from battling out in open field, and they're dying in the thousands, and then out from underground just comes these giant rat ogres spilling out from underground and just puking out just rat men from the underground. Yeah. And then that's the other thing, is the absolute fear factor the Skaven bring you. Do you really think your basic soldier from Westeros, they already have a hard time dealing with dragons and White Walkers? Do you really think they're going to have the mental capacity to really be able to mentally handle the sight of a rat ogre, or an abomination? Just this huge mangled thing of flesh dragging itself through the battlefield and just screaming. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that moment where remember that scene in Return of the King, where Gandalf's giving this rousing speech, and then these armored ogres just burst through the wall of Gondor. Yeah, imagine that, but at King's Landing, where Tywin is just giving this massive speech, you are soldiers of the king, you will defend King's Landing and these people to your dying breath, and then a fucking flesh abomination just bursts through. I guarantee you some of those soldiers are just going to be like, fuck this! Just slit their own throat. Yeah, and not only that, technology in Westeros is nothing compared to, whatever the rat men have. I guarantee you, no matter how good of an archer you are, you're not going to hold your own against the ratling gun or a warpstone thrower. I don't know how you could shoot a bunch of arrows and probably kill, a good number of rat men, but guess what? The rat man's got, a fucking laser gun pointed right at you. And the other thing is, here's the other thing. No one is going to unite to fight the Skaven. There is not going to be a massive unity of forces to combat and defeat the Skaven. They're too wrapped up in their own bullshit to do that. We saw that with the White Walkers. They cannot, for the life of them, get past their own petty bullshit to actually fight as a unit. North and South cannot work together on that. And yeah, do you think Daenerys Targaryen and her 3 dragons are going to be any help? Motherfucker, these monsters they make, yeah, they'll just make slaves and make test subjects out of the soldiers, then cross the sea with their horrible, disgusting freaks of nature, and proceed to butt-fuck that side of the continent. Yeah. the only thing that can, like I said, the only thing that can really stop the Skaven are the Skaven's ego, which will come into play. They'll probably be, fighting each other constantly. But here's the thing: there is unlike in Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar, the big thing that kind of sets things apart there is that in that world, there's not only their own bullshit to get past, there's also other factions, and some of them are united. That's not the case here in Westeros, where it's only like humans, and all these humans can't work together. Now, the only really race I could see being a threat to the Skaven are the White Walkers. Really, the White Walkers are the, like, humans, wildlings, you know, anything like that. They are not, like, there's nothing they can do. But the White Walkers are quite literally the only thing I think could stand up to them. And even then, that's a hard one to say, because again, Skaven could just be killed and resurrected as White Walkers, and Skaven will just birth out 100 more to replace that one, and it will just be a sea of ratmen and zombies fighting in an endless war with humans caught in the middle of it. Yeah. And also, there's no alliances. There's also, I don't care how like, silver-tongued Tyrion Lannister is, the Ratman isn't gonna care. He's just gonna be like, short man, make dumb decision. Me in charge. And just kick him over, like, some balcony or eat him. Yeah. They're stupid. Like, give or take a few, like, outside of several Skaven, like Thankwol or Ikit or, you know, Skrulk. These guys are fucking stupid. They're very fucking stupid. So if you try to, like, try that silver-tongued bullshit with your typical Ratman, he's just going to think you're making fun of him and then stab you in the stomach. Yeah. So all in all, Westeros is fucked. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be like if the Skaven invaded Westeros? Do you think Westeros could hold the line and, you know, overcome the Ratmen? Or do you think the Skaven are just going to be doing horrendous things to these people? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.